So I was trying to deal with tile cracks, and I'm finished now. So I'll show you the final product. As I was working along with it, I figured I'd go ahead and shoot a video throughout the process to help show anyone else who might be interested in doing this kind of work, to hide the damage on the tiles, or hide the cracks in the tile so it's not quite such a ugly scar, we might say. The videos overall are rather disjointed, I'd have to say. Not particularly good production value, but if you're interested in doing something like this, it's probably worth a watch. Hey, so we had some tile cracks, and rather than replacing the floor, we had some thoughts on trying to hide them. So first thought was to try and do something like kintsugi, which is the kind of the Japanese art for pottery, where you take a broken or cracked teacup or plate or something, glue it back together, and then put something decorative on the glue lines, basically. So it could look nice, and a decent number of people like it. So I've tried that with this. It didn't work out too well for our cracks, and I think part of the reason for that is that maybe the paintbrush I had was too big. So I'd use this with a foam paintbrush, kind of a wedge shape, and I kind of dabbed it along. So what I'm now trying to do is something where I apply it, let it dry, and then I wipe it off so that only the cracks, the crevices, still have some paint in it. I don't know if I have one here I can easily show, but I'll show something better after I finish this area. In a bit. Oh yeah. So a paintbrush that might have been able to go ahead and work with this. I think I probably would want to try maybe like a cone-shaped painter's brush, like an artist paintbrush, to try and drip along the tip and let it kind of get sucked into the crack via capillary action. You need something fairly fine to run along the cracks. And some of these cracks may not even be able to go ahead and suck it in. Like this one here is a little deeper. You have some crevices there. But like this one here, it's just a straight crack without anything really popping off of that. Okay, so I've let it dry for a while. I've had some fans on. I don't know, half hour. And now I'm using some isopropyl alcohol to go ahead and rub this off, and that gets off most of the high spots because it's in a crevice. It doesn't really affect the lower spots. I'm going to go ahead and show that. Set this aside. So I've gotten most of it off. I'm doing a wipe up, especially on the grout, to get the kind of yellow tinge that you probably can't see very well in the video. And this is kind of what it looks like. We'll see overall if it gets accepted as something that looks good, though it does help kind of decorate the cracks some. So it doesn't look just like this void. Okay, so I'm going ahead and doing the coloring the cracks a little more thoroughly, and we decided on a color. So I've come through and redone the stuff I already did before, just trying to make sure it's filled in a little more. I changed one thing. To wipe it off beforehand, I was using a kind of a cloth or paper towel, and that tended to go into the crevices or the cliffs a little more and take out the goop. which I kind of want to stay in there to kind of look pretty. So instead I used a piece of styrofoam to go ahead and wipe along the cracks to remove most of it so it's easier to clean up. And I was able to get some nice results. You may not be able to see this too well, but a nice kind of very light kind of gold yellowish line running along the edge there that I don't think I would have gotten with a cloth or a paper towel. Also, the cleanup is a lot easier if I wipe it, so So since I've wiped off from the cracks, the lines that I'm wiping along aren't actually the cracks. So the cracks tend to be more delicately handled. So I don't actually spend as much time cleaning them. And I end up with more paint inside the cracks, which is what I want. Then I can just chase along the edges where we have kind of like that line as I squeegeed it off. Also using my bit on fingernail. Okay, got that. Now, one thing I will have to go ahead and redo probably is probably have to recolor the grout. The grout or the grout colorant that I used previously is coming up with my isopropyl alcohol I'm wiping on here, and in some places I'm getting kind of a yellow tinge along the grout colorant I put in. But overall, I think that is an easier, faster way of doing the crack coloring that ends in a better result. Okay, so next up I'm going to show you how I used GIMP to figure out the color of the tiles. This is running off some of the ideas of color theory. So I'll link into a video I watched that helped me try and understand some of that. I went with the monochrome style for choosing colors, where you go with a variety of different, basically one color, but you saturate it more and more to get different distinctions on the picture. And since I'd be filling the cracks or a small amount, I would choose to saturate my crack filling substance just a bit more than the stuff around it. Maybe a lot more. I'm not particularly good with colors. I'm just watching like a 20-minute video and saying, hey, let's try that. So let me show you how I used GIMP to figure out that color. So first off, we'll go ahead and make a selection. Let's go up to filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and then just blur the hell out of it. Yeah, alright, super blurred. Okay, so I'm going to choose the color picker, and oh yeah, we got to bring up the foreground color piece. Okay, so here are the colors on this. I like to choose this piece here. So the way this works out is this is full saturation, and you get desaturated over here. This is gray, black, and white. So you have different mixings of the desaturated that you go with that. So our tile, or my tile, is right around here. It's kind of a golden color and very desaturated. So if I were to go ahead and try and choose a paint to paint a line over the cracks, now I would probably go about here. If I remember right, I actually went up to about here, and when I painted on, it looks kind of jarring. It was a bit too saturated, I think. Now, since I am just filling the cracks in right now, it actually works out decently. But I probably would have ended up with something like this if I was just going to try painting the lines over using the monochrome style. Note, probably could have used, well, maybe could have used a complementary color, which would have been a light blue. I guess technically it's worth it giving a shot. I have a hard time seeing how this color would work personally, but then again, I don't really do much art or color stuff. So what I did is I went ahead and I took a picture of this screen right here, and I compared it on my phone to make sure, I brought the picture up my phone to make sure that the color I saw on the computer screen was the same on the phone. Then I ran down to Home Depot and got a sample color, a little bottle of latex paint for about $5 that was roughly similar to this color, and came home and painted the tiles. I figured, why not try the latex? If it fails, I can always get something more durable, and at least I've chosen out the color, and it's relatively cheap to do. If you want to get a good match, you'll probably have to try a few different colors, I'm going to bet. And that should be it. Okay, so one quick thing. I did go ahead and try coloring some of the cracks with a blue color. I personally thought it looked awesome. Two of the people I showed it to said, it looks like you spilled paint there. So we didn't go with that color. But I do think there is some possibility for complementary colors from what I've seen. It seemed to work out decently.